So hey, what's up everyone, and welcome to yet another video from the Thrift Store Prepper. And today's video we got yourselves another prison recipe coming up, and this one's going to be a vegan themed, well, not maybe vegan themed, but a vegan suitable or vegetarian suitable prison recipe. There are vegetarians and vegans among society that will be needing to prep and eat in emergency situations. And we've mentioned many times before on the Thrift Store Prepper that emergency situations don't necessarily have to be about zombie apocalypses or asteroids hitting Earth or any of the other shit hitting the fan type scenarios that movies and TV shows are predicting or programming us into believing could possibly happen. Sometimes, maybe, for example, if you're somebody who works in the service industry and you rely a little bit on tips to supplement your income, and this time of year where not so many people are going out or have New Year's resolutions and such forth, the tips aren't as plentiful, especially, with people spending money excessively over the holidays. So times can be hard for the most of people, and it doesn't always have to be, doomsday type scenarios that you're prepping for. So part of the reason we prep is for things like loss of income or loss of job or maybe loss of health. You may be out of work sick, and sometimes prepping is looking a little bit like having food insurance. So if you do fall upon hard times, money is tight, then something you haven't got to worry about so much is food. My apologies, I just had to pause there very quickly to cough up a lung. I am a smoker, and this time of year smoking outside doesn't agree with me. But back to the video and what I was saying, that sometimes there are people on low income, or people like students who haven't got much money and look into ways to feed themselves on a low budget. Is something that we do try to address here at the Thrift Store Prepper, as much as stocking up for a rainy day or a survival situation. And we have what I have is what I consider to be a semi-working, semi-emergency pantry. So I have a lot of items that I don't intend to use, and I have items that I tend to use on a weekly or daily item to eat myself in ways that I get calories that I don't have to cook. As I've mentioned, I work in the service industry, and I get to eat for free in the kitchen that I work at. And when you cook 30-40 meals a night for other people, sometimes the last thing you want to do is make the mess in effort to make a meal for yourself. So these little prison recipes are very quick. I'm not going to say mess-free, because we do tend to make a little bit of mess making them, but certainly you're not me using pots and pans. And again, these are things that if you are in an emergency or you've got no power, you're not going to be able to use anyway. Or if you're out camping, it would be less things that you would need to be carrying in your backpack to make things a little bit lighter. You could just make a ramen noodle in its bag. But back to today's idea. So today we're going to try and look at a way how maybe a vegan or a vegetarian could get some extra calories into what is a simple meal. So for this one, we do have a vegetable flavor ramen. I'm actually not too sure if these are in fact suitable for vegans or not, but who knows? Maybe someone can let me know in the comments below. There you go, there's a call of action for you. I'm starting to sound like a real YouTuber, even though I am far from a real YouTuber. But there we go. So we've crushed down our ramen noodles as always, and who knows if we can save the bag or not. We did do it once the other day when we weren't trying to. I'm almost certain that when we are trying to, there you go. Simulated reality right there. Murphy's Law is a fine example for simulated reality, but another topic for another time in possibly a different channel altogether. So we lost the bag, so we're going to get ourselves a cooker, and in this instance we're going to be using a Jack Link's jerky bag. And yes, I realized the irony of using a beef jerky packaging bag as a stove in this instance to make a vegan or vegetarian friendly meal. That's just my sense of humor, I guess, or my antagonistic nature, I do not know. But there you go, it doesn't really matter where you're using a Jack Link's as a stove, and you've seen how many different varieties of baggies we have used as cookers in the past to make these types of dishes. So we're going to dump our noodles out into the Jack Link bag, and there you go. Even though we try, and that's why the little seasoning packet had got stuck, and that's why we were getting a mess. We're going to pour in the majority of our ramen noodles, and the rest that got tossed onto the worktop we're not going to worry about too much here. So let's just give that a little break, because there are some clumps. We want this to kind of hydrate as quickly as we can. So let's just put the seal on, make sure we don't get any more. And this is actually a pretty durable and good bag for doing this, and something you can oh god, there you go, ramen goes everywhere. It doesn't matter how hard you try, it gets into your underwear and your ass crack at times. Don't ask how it gets in your ass crack, but sometimes, you know, who knows, some things are best left unexplained. So we have some crushed up ramen noodles there, and hopefully none in the ass crack. So we are going to add just a little bit of the vegetable seasoning, possibly not all of it, 'cause there's a lot of MSG in there. You could always save that if you wanted to, but we're not. I'll put a little bit more in. There you go. It doesn't matter too much, but that's, you know, entirely up to you. We'll give that a shake. And here you go, we've got our water. And today I'm not using a Gatorade, I got kind of a measuring cup here, and this gives us 10 ounces and 1 1/4 cup. So we're kind of going to use this just to show you how little amount of water it takes to rehydrate these ramen, as opposed to maybe cooking something like rice or pasta, which you're going to have to boil and need quite a lot more. So we're just going to pour some in there. Maybe just a little bit more, and you know, look, we've used about 4 ounces of water. So we're going to squash those down and put the seal on, roll it over, and there you go. That's actually a very perfect little cooker for our ramen noodle. I'm certainly going to definitely try and save that one, because that's probably one of the best yet. Ideal little things. So there you go. There's another tip thrown into the video for free. You get some bonus footage. If this was a DVD, that would be the extras segment on the additional disc. But I'm guessing that DVDs are almost as forgotten as VHS. If you are a youngster today and probably asking what the hell is a DVD or a VHS, but never mind, let's move back to our recipe. So the next thing we're going to have to do is make our extremely time consuming sauce. So the first thing we have is a good spoonful of peanut butter. Don't ask why the peanut butter is in this bag, or maybe you can if you are asking why it's in the bag. It's in the bag because it's for this purpose, for the recipe and the video, that we're going to use this bag to mix our sauce rather than everything else. And it was to save a little bit of time. So there you go, we just got a spoonful of peanut butter there. And something we are going to add next is your friend and mine, good old sriracha sauce. And you know, a little bit of hot sauce makes everything taste better. And really and truly, that's the only 2 items you need to be using right now to simulate that pad thai flavor. And there are various ways you could do this. If you were actually making the soup and cooking the broth on the... Is this even open? Let's have a look. There you go. Yeah, it's open. So there you go. This is a good way to mix your sauce in the Ziploc bag here. So again, it's utilizing what we have available to us. And basically that's all we are. Oh, there we go. We've got a little bit of a mess going on there already, but we can salvage that. Sounding a little bit like Bob Ross there. Oh goodness, we've had a squeezy one. That was almost like a zip popping. But that may have got some people off or not, I don't know. That's the money shot right there. So, you know, we always tend to make a little bit of a mess when we're trying not to on the thrift store prepper. So let's just open that up again. It's probably a good chance we're not going to be saving this bag. So we're just going to put a little bit more of the sriracha in. You want a little bit more spicy. So, you know, obviously the peanut butter as well is a source of protein. Maybe not a complete source of protein, but it's going to get something into you. And, you know, if you are a vegetarian or a vegan, getting your protein is pretty important. And peanut butter and peanuts is a very good way of doing that. I said peanuts, not penis, in case any of you do have a twisted mind or thought you heard something you didn't. So there we go. We're going to kind of keep mixing this up the best we can. And what we were going to do, but we're not going to do, if you snip the bottom off, you kind of got like that drizzle thing that you see on Cake Boss and those other kind of shows where you need to be distributing icing in a nice and distributed manner. We might not even still be able to do that, to be honest. We have had a little bit of mess, but we seem to have minimalized it and contained it to just the corners up there. So I do have a cloth somewhere handy, so I'll just do wipe down so it's not going to make more of a mess. So there you go, there's pretty much our sauce. I'm going to continue to mix that up, and that really is a bit about it. But before we made the mess, I think I was mentioning that if you were making this on a stove top and you were boiling the broth and using the seasoning packet, that if you were to add your sriracha and your peanut butter to the broth and let that cook in together and add your noodles, that would give you kind of the pad thai soup flavor. But what we're going to kind of do here is make a pad thai sauce to drizzle on top of our noodles here. And something else you could do is this would be the most easiest and primitive way to do it, and the way you would probably be doing it in prison. But what we will be doing, can I even get this open now? Oh good grief, we might have to just leave it like that and go with the original plan of squeezing off the corner. But I was going to add a little squirt of lemon juice just to give it that Thai lemongrassy flavour. I'm not sure if there is lemongrass in pad Thai, but you know, these are flavours that are associated with Thai cooking. Lemongrass, peanuts, and spicy chili things. But yeah, that would be one way to make it with the broth. And we're going to make a little sauce and put on top. And if you were not a vegetarian or vegan, then you could maybe add some beef jerky, or as I've previously used the pork rinds or the chicharrones. They would go quite well in this sauce, particularly the pork rinds. That would be quite awesome. But a way you could supplement and add some more protein and fat and calories to this salt would be to crush up some peanuts. Now I've got a couple of items out of my pantry that I have here that we could utilize in this case. And the little ding dongs, I believe these are a Filipino snack. I get these in my local No Frills store, and they're very cheap. They're about 80 cents a packet, and they get quite a lot of bang for your buck in terms of calories, fat, and protein. This entire bag would give you 480 grams of protein. Let me start that right again. It would give you 480 calories, and I believe, where's the proteins? It would give you 12 grams of protein. So this has got some corn and I think some peas and some, hang on, let's have a look there. We've got the ingredients right in front of us. It's got some peas, peanuts, corn, I think kind of like those little rice cracker type things in there, and some soya protein and other stuff like that. So, you know, we could crush up half a bag of this and mix it in with our sauce, or we could just crush up the a bag of this and mix it in with our ramen noodles and just drizzle the sauce on the top and mix it up. That would certainly add some calories and a couple of nutrients. Another thing you could also add would be these little samosas I got. Now, again, these come in around $1.20, I think, maybe $1.25 at most. And this is giving you a 7 portions, or so that has around 7 little samosas. I could count them in there. But this bag gives you, again, 700 calories. And this would be a little thing that you could have as a side or as a supplement with your pad thai and noodles. Or if you were to make the soup, this would give you an extra 700 calories. I think there's about 200 calories in the ramen. So, you know, that's giving you a decent calorie count. Plus, you are going to get 7 grams of protein from this, and not really that much else, I don't think. But calories, fat, and protein will be some of your nutrients that you're going to be getting in there. And most importantly, it is going to be filling you up. And again, I'm not totally sure if these are 100% suitable for vegans, but they are vegetarian. And the other thing I have, if you can remember from the Jam Bomb video where we did some repackaging, I've got these spicy pickled eggplants, and what we probably will be using today would be some of these to make it a truly vegetarian dish. I was going to be a dick at the end and add some pork rinds just to ruin the vegetarian and veganism of this dish, but we're going to stick with it the best we can. And because we're not certain if this is suitable for vegans, we're going to leave that to the side. I'm pretty sure vegans could eat this. Let me know if you can. I don't know. I don't think there's anything animally or dairy in there. But that being said, I haven't really looked that much into the ingredients. So to be safe, to make this as friendly as we can for vegans, we're going to go with the eggplant as our extra item. And the good thing about these eggplants is they are full of vitamin C, so you're going to get a good dose of vitamins. You're going to get a little bit of protein from the peanut butter. And again, you know, we could just crush a few of these up to sprinkle on the top. And the other thing I do have here are some of the good old crispy onions, so that you could, again, you know, just use it as a little bit of a garnish or a little bit more flavour. So, that being said, no further ado, let's have a little check, see how our ramen are doing, and if we still have water or not, I do not know. So let's just break this open. Doesn't look like we've got any liquid left, so they're popping out all over the place, as you can see there. While they are in the bag, we're going to just give that a little mix. And I'm not going to mix the sauce in the bag because I do want to try and save this, because this is going to be a great little oven and maybe something that you can use in a prison commissary MRE as your cooking apparatus. So anyway, you know how it works. We dump our noodles out. Yeah, look at that. Absorbed all the water perfectly. Wow, I'm very impressed with that as a prison stove. So we're gonna definitely try and salvage that. We're gonna put that to the side. You know what? You can just, for good measures, just put a little bit of lemon on there. Lemon and chili is a very, very good combination. And you know, we're not going to be saving this, so actually let's do that. There we go. And you know, that's just a little tip for you. You can be doing this. You don't need to be using a Ziploc. You could use it in a sandwich bag. And there's your pad thai sauce. And again, you know, another little tip would be, if you wanted to mix up and make a batch of these sauces, you could get these bags. You can just mix your peanut butter and sriracha in the bag as you go and seal it up. Put them in your pantry, put them in your backpack, or, you know, your bug out bag, whatever it is that you're using this for. Or in this case, just to demonstrate a way to make a mess-free sauce in a bag that's easy and inexpensive, you know. And if we broke this down into portion size. How much would this cost exactly? I'm not sure. You know, the ramen noodle, currently you can get $5 for a buck at the Dollarama. A spoonful of peanut butter, I couldn't even put a price on, and a couple of squirts of sriracha. That's not breaking the bank. Another good thing about this lemon juice is you can actually use it as hand sanitizer. It cleans the hands nicely, and it's also edible. Something you might want to know, and that's another little thrown in tip for free. So what we're going to do now is maybe just a little sprinkle of the crispy onions, and I have some chopsticks. I'm just going to open up some pickles here and get some eggplants out to dump on the top. And I don't know why I use chopsticks. It makes me kind of feel fancy, I guess, and special. Makes me feel as though I'm entitled to some kind of privilege or something. It doesn't. I'm just talking shit now. So there you go. We've got some eggplants on top. Just put a little bit more for good measures, because we are hungry. That's going to give you your vitamins and going to obviously add a little bit more to your stomach as well. It's going to fill you up a little bit more, and we still got some left. And you know, you could add a little bit of that juice if you wanted as well for some additional flavor. And just for good measure, we'll just give it another little squirt of sriracha. And we can kind of mix that in together. And there we have an eggplant pad thai. And, you know, probably some sprinkled crushed up peanuts would be ideal on this at this time. And there you go. I don't know if that looks very appealing to the eye, or if anybody's stomach's been rumbling while watching this, but I can assure you that this does resemble and have a very familiar taste to pad thai, and you know, it will fool your brain into thinking you've probably had something that you haven't. But that's it. I don't think that's going to be getting much attention on Rate My Plate, but you can see that with minimal effort, minimal fuss, not really that much mess, and minimum items, we've made ourselves a little lunch here that's suitable for vegans or vegetarians. And, you know, as I say, these are not necessarily meals that you need to be making in the doomsday situation, or in fact in prison. That, you know, these are things that if you're on a student budget, or if you are low income and getting by on part-time hours, or just a part-time job and going to school, these are ways that you can fill yourself up and convince yourself you've had something better than you really have had. And, you know, if you are in Canada and enjoy recreational marijuana and you suddenly get yourself the munches, this is a fun little thing that you can do with shit you find at the convenience store or at your dollar store. And I'm pretty sure if you were quite baked, you would laugh and giggle while making this. So there you go. We've made ourselves a vegan-friendly prison recipe, eggplant pad thai. This has been a shit video presentation for the Thrift Store Prepper. As always, thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.